Across North America, a new electric race is accelerating, not on Wall Street, but across the Great Lakes. In Windsor, Ontario, a massive battery plant built by Stellantis and LG Energy Solution is nearing full operation. Down the highway, Canada's mineral-rich provinces are turning into supply fortresses for the world's largest automakers. And now, something unexpected has added fuel to this shift. In October 2025, Donald Trump announced a 100% tariff on all Chinese imports, escalating the trade standoff to historic levels. It wasn't just another headline, it was a seismic shock to the global EV industry. Within hours, investors and manufacturers began recalculating the cost of doing business in Asia. For Tesla, it meant moving supply lines north. For Stellantis, it meant their billion-dollar Canadian bet just became their smartest insurance policy yet. The result? A new EV belt is forming, stretching from Ontario to Quebec, powered by critical minerals, battery cells, and political timing. Welcome to Geoc Capitalist, where we decode global wealth one quiet power shift at a time. In today's episode, why Tesla and Stellantis are rushing to Canada's EV belt. We'll uncover how one tariff, one factory, and one mineral-rich nation are quietly rewriting the map of electric power in North America. If you enjoy seeing how geopolitics becomes profit, hit subscribe, because this story's moving fast. The North American manufacturing map is changing, and Canada is right at its center. For decades, the United States dominated auto production, while Canada supplied parts, minerals, and logistics. But that balance is shifting. As Washington and Beijing trade tariff blows, Ottawa is playing a different game, one built on stability, predictability, and resources. In the province of Ontario, a corridor once known for steel and assembly lines is being rebuilt for the electric age. From Windsor to Kingston, you'll now find cathode plants, lithium refineries, and battery pack facilities under construction. Economists call it the EV belt. And in 2025, it's attracting more capital than any other manufacturing region in the Western Hemisphere. According to Natural Resources Canada, total EV-related investment across Ontario and Quebec has surpassed 40 billion Canadian dollars, with Stellantis, Volkswagen, GM, and Northvolt leading the way. But what makes this moment historic isn't just the scale, it's the timing. Trump's new 100% tariff on China has forced automakers to find alternative supply bases immediately. For global giants like Stellantis, Canada isn't just convenient. It's a geopolitical safe zone inside the US-Mexico-Canada trade pact. That's why the EV belt is booming even before a single new US tariff takes effect. It's not a coincidence. It's a strategy. On October 10th, 2025, Donald Trump announced what he called the largest tariff increase in modern history. A 100% levy on all Chinese imports effective November 1st. The stated reason, retaliation for China's rare earth export bans and technology controls. But beneath the rhetoric, the impact hit every global industry, especially EVs. China controls over 75% of the world's lithium-ion battery supply chain. Its factories produce nearly every component, from cathodes and anodes to magnets and battery casings. A 100% tariff means those imports instantly double in cost. And for automakers selling in North America, that's a shockwave. Tesla's CFO called the move a supply chain earthquake. In Detroit and Windsor, production planners started reworking sourcing contracts overnight. U.S. firms began accelerating talks with Canadian and European suppliers, and China's immediate response, expanding export licenses on rare earth processing, made it clear this was no bluff. Even Trump's own advisors admitted the 100% rate might not be sustainable long-term, but by then the damage was done. Investors realized China could no longer be the default factory of the world. For Canada, this was the moment opportunity met preparation. After years of investing in minerals, energy, and stable regulation, Canada was positioned to catch the capital fleeing Asia. The EV belt went from an industrial dream to a geopolitical hedge overnight. In Windsor, Ontario, the Nexstar Energy Gigafactory is nearly ready to power up. Jointly built by Stellantis and LG Energy Solution, the facility represents a $5 billion Canadian dollars investment and a strategic shield against global disruption. When Stellantis broke ground in 2022, few imagined how perfectly timed the project would be. Today, the factory employs over 1,000 workers and is preparing to manufacture up to 49.5 GWh of batteries per year, enough to supply roughly 450,000 EVs. Modules began production in late 2024, and cell manufacturing lines are now entering the final phase. Here's the critical point. These batteries will qualify as North American-made under USMCA rules, completely exempt from any future U.S. tariff on Chinese goods. In other words, Stellantis didn't just build a plant, it built an insurance policy. When Trump's tariff announcement hit in October 2025, Stellantis executives privately celebrated. Their supply chain was already secure, already local, already compliant. Meanwhile, competitors relying on Chinese parts were forced to renegotiate contracts, eat higher costs, or halt production. Windsor became the model of what the next decade of manufacturing could look like. Geopolitical risk turned into industrial resilience. In a single headline, Canada's investment gamble paid off. Tesla doesn't have a gigafactory in Canada. Not yet. But its fingerprints are everywhere. Since 2022, the company has quietly lobbied Canadian officials and scouted potential sites in Ontario and Quebec. Lobby filings mention advanced manufacturing and critical mineral extraction board clues to its long-term plan. For Tesla, Canada offers 3 advantages that no U.S. state can match. First, raw materials: lithium, nickel, graphite, and cobalt, all mined under ESG standards that meet U.S. and EU regulations. Second, policy synergy. Canada's zero-emission vehicle mandate rewards fully electric automakers. Tesla can sell compliance credits to slower competitors, turning regulation into profit. And third, tariff insulation. With the U.S.-China trade war intensifying, Canadian sourcing shields Tesla from import shocks while keeping it inside the North American market. In September 2025, when Ottawa temporarily adjusted its 2026 EV sales mandate, Tesla's stock rose. Investors knew Tesla was positioned to benefit from every credit, every regulation, and every disruption. The company doesn't need a public announcement. Its supply chains already thread through Canadian suppliers and critical mineral developers. So while the world debates where Tesla's next gigafactory will be, the company's future might already be forming, quietly, north of the border. From Windsor to Quebec City, the EV belt is now more than an idea. It's an ecosystem. Across Ontario, new plants are being built for battery cathodes, separators, and pack assembly. In Quebec, lithium refineries are ramping up under companies like Nemaska Lithium and Sayona Mining. Volkswagen is constructing a $7 billion Canadian dollars cell plant in St. Thomas, while Northvolt's Swedish-led project near Montreal has broken ground. Together, these projects have already attracted over 40 billion Canadian dollars in investment, the highest manufacturing boom in Canadian history. This isn't just about jobs, it's about leverage. By anchoring the EV supply chain in Canada, Western automakers reduce dependence on Chinese refining and processing. It also aligns perfectly with U.S. rules that define which vehicles qualify for the Inflation Reduction Act's EV tax credits. Every car assembled using Canadian components qualifies as local, meaning billions in consumer subsidies flow northward through the supply chain. For Canada, the math is clear. Geography plus trust equals power. As tariffs tighten the global system, the EV belt offers something rare: predictability. Step back, and the logic becomes obvious. The tariff fight isn't just about trade, it's about control of the inputs that define modern power. Batteries, chips, turbines, and cables each relies on materials and supply lines that can be weaponized. China's strategy is dominance through processing. America's strategy is disruption through tariffs. Canada's strategy? Trust. It's offering stability as a product, and investors are buying it. Every trade escalation pushes capital toward predictable jurisdictions. Every tariff threat raises the premium on neutrality. That's why you see Swiss, German, and Japanese firms quietly expanding in Canada's energy and mining sectors. They're not betting on ideology. They're betting on reliability. In 2025, global manufacturing isn't just competing on cost, it's competing on confidence. And right now, no one's selling confidence like Canada. Tariffs create losers quickly, but they also create unexpected winners. In the short term, American consumers pay more for goods made in China. But in the medium term, that pain funds new supply chains, and Canada is collecting the dividends. Stellantis wins because it pre-built a tariff-proof network. Tesla wins because its credits and materials already meet North American rules. Canadian provinces win through job creation and export expansion. Even Europe wins because it gains a new stable partner for its green tech ambitions. The only real loser? Globalization as we knew it. The 1990s model, cheap Chinese labor, seamless logistics, low tariffs, is collapsing under political gravity. The new model, regional networks, trusted partners, strategic resources, is being built in real time, and Canada is the blueprint. Every industrial revolution starts with a spark. For the 21st century, that spark isn't oil. It's electrons stored in lithium, nickel, and cobalt. And in 2025, those electrons are being wired not through Beijing or Silicon Valley, but through Ontario and Quebec. Trump's tariffs may have triggered chaos, but they also triggered clarity. The world's clean energy future can't depend on unstable supply chains. For Tesla and Stellantis, moving north wasn't just a business decision. It was a strategic migration. Because in the era of electric geopolitics, control of supply means control of destiny. You've been watching Geoc Capitalist, where we follow the money shaping the next century. If this episode helped you see how trade, politics, and innovation intersect, tap like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next shift in global power. This was Why Tesla and Stellantis are rushing to Canada's EV belt amid Trump's 100% tariff on China. And remember the smarts. The smartest moves in geopolitics aren't loud. They're built quietly, gigafactory by gigafactory. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.